welcome back to another episode of Roots and Readers. I'm Jennifer Forbes here at the Hampton Park Library, and we are going to be talking about seed starting in this episode. Before we get started though, I just kind of wanted to show you our tomato plant that we transplanted last episode. It is thriving, doing really well. We've added a cage because it's so tall to help support it, and it has thanked us with 2 beautiful new tomatoes that we are eager to see ripen and taste. In one of the other beds, while we were weeding and preparing them, I also found what looked like it might be a pepper plant. So I transplanted that from another bed over here as well, and it seemed to be thriving. It's looking a little wilted right now because it's the heat of the day, but those leaves do perk up in the morning and the evening. And then over here we have a melon plant. It is still growing, still putting out runners and leaves, still showing us some beautiful blossoms, although we haven't had any melons yet. Not sure. We do have something, it looks like, that might be nibbling on the ends. Not quite sure what it is. I'll have to look into that, but we'll be talking about some natural pest control in the future as well. We will probably be planting something in here that will help deter some pests, and see if that works as well. When I moved the pepper plant over here, before I transplanted and planted all of these together, I did a little bit of research to check, because you want to make sure you look up to see whether the plants you're going to put together actually do well together. And peppers, tomatoes, and melons actually do well together. So we're using a Jiffy Professional greenhouse to start our seedlings in. This greenhouse comes with individual pellets that will grow and expand into a dirt cup when you add water. We've got 72 pellets here, so we can start 72 seedlings at once. What we're going to do now is we're going to add some water to each of these pellets. That's going to allow it to grow and expand into individual dirt cups. Now that the pellets are ready and have soaked up our water, we're going to pull the netting that keeps them contained away from the top so we can plant our seeds. As you can see, some of these already have the netting has pulled back, but some of these, like this one right here, this one doesn't have an opening on the top. So I'm going to be pulling back some of this netting and making sure that we have some openings and room for our seeds. So for our fall garden, we're going to plant some cooler weather plants. Today, we're going to start our broccoli, cabbage, lettuce, and green onions. I'll be placing green onions in each of the beds because rabbits don't care for onions, and I'm hoping they'll act as a deterrent for any wild rabbits who might come along and want to taste our vegetables. I'm also using green onions because they stay small and they don't take up much room, so I can add them easily to the beds without sacrificing much of the fall vegetables that I want to plant. Later, I'm going to start some radishes and some beets. I'm not starting them today because it's still too hot for them right now, and I want to be able to plant the seedlings when they're big enough. I'll still have time for them to grow if I start in September, and the weather will be cooler by the time they're ready to go outside in the garden. And for the radishes, I'll be planting something called a winter radish. These radishes store well and are a bit larger than the small red radishes that you see in salads that you order. Those are better for spring and summer gardens. So I've measured out my beds, and I've determined which beds I want to grow which vegetables in. My broccoli bed can hold up to 10 broccoli plants, so I'm going to use 10 pellets for my broccoli. I'll probably do these 6 and then another 4 right here. I'm going to plant 3 broccoli seeds in each pellet to give myself a higher chance of germination. And I'm going to plant them according to the planting instructions. Okay. This is the type of broccoli we're going to be planting, and I always follow the planting instructions on the package. As you can see, we're actually going to be planting them about 1/4 of an inch deep in our pots. And they should emerge in 4 to 10 days. My cabbage bed can hold up to 12 cabbages based on their spacing requirements. So I'll be using 12 pellets for my cabbage. I will also plant 3 seeds in each pellet, and I'm also going to plant these 1/4 of an inch deep. I'm trying to space these seeds out if possible in here, because if they all germinate, I will have to thin them, and it's easier if they're not all growing on top of each other. I'm also using 2 of my smaller beds for my lettuce, and each can hold up to 9 heads of lettuce. So I'll be planting 18 lettuce seed cups, and I'll be planting these 1/16 of an inch deep, which means I'm just going to be poking them under the surface of the soil. Now, our lettuce seeds are very tiny and hard to pick up. If you end up planting more than 1 or 2 or 3, however many you want, that's fine. You can thin them out later. I think I've got 4 in here, see? So I'm just going to be poking them just under the top of the soil and just barely covering them up. 1/16 of an inch is not much dirt at all. I made the mistake of planting lettuce at home one year and not worrying about how deep I planted the seeds. That was a big mistake. I think I accidentally planted them about 1 inch deep. I didn't get any lettuce that year. And then another reason to plant lettuce inside while it's hot is because the seeds don't germinate outside. If it's too hot, they won't actually come up. So you want to start your lettuce inside if it's still hot outside and you need a head start. Let me get him out of there. I've also put some markers down over on these rows to help me remember which rows I've planted so that I don't overplant or plant more than 1 seed in each row. I will go back later and use a marker, and I'll write down what is on each of these rows so I can keep track of them later. Finally, I'm going to use the remaining pots for my green onions. These are the green onion seeds. I'll also be planting them 3 to a pot. I've kind of sorted them ahead into 3 sets of 3, and at 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch deep per their instructions. So they're going to go a little deeper. Step will be to take the top of our greenhouse, the lid, and place it on top. This is actually going to lock in the moisture that's in here and create the greenhouse effect. This way we don't have to lift off the lid to water it before the seeds have sprouted and set down roots to help anchor them in the soil. We don't want to wash the seeds away as we're watering them. Once the seeds have started to sprout, I'm going to end up propping the lid open a little bit, and I will turn on our special plant grow light that we have here to help those seedlings start. You don't need the light to start until you start seeing the actual seedlings. We also have a special seed heating pad that will go under the seed pots This is going to be making the seeds think that they're outside in the summer sun and keeping them warm so that they will sprout. It's not the same as the heating pad you have at home. It's specially made for seeds. So make sure if you're going to use one of these, you get a seed heating pad. Thank you for joining us today for Roots and Readers as we started our fall garden seeds. We love helping our community garden, so if you want to pitch in and get your hands dirty, we'd love to have you join us. Just contact us at Hampton Park and ask how you can help with the garden. In the next episode, while we wait for our seeds to grow, we'll be talking about planning the garden to get the best results. As always, ask your librarian for great books about gardening. We have books about seed starting. We have books about easy to grow vegetables for the beginner gardener, small space vegetable gardens, and books on almost every topic you can think of. If you need more information, just ask us, because here at FCPL, we know books.